Hi, I'm Anna, and a very warm welcome to English Learning Podcast, the podcast for everyone on the beautiful and sometimes challenging journey of learning English. Have you ever been in a situation where you wanted to speak? Maybe you were in a meeting or at a cafe or just talking with a new friend. You knew the words in your head. You had an opinion, a thought, a story to share, but you stayed silent. Your heart started beating a little faster. A little voice in your head whispered, "Don't say anything. What if you make a mistake? What if they don't understand you? What if they laugh?" If you have ever felt that way, I want you to take a deep breath. And I want you to know you are not alone. I have felt that way too. I remember standing in a little bakery in a country where I didn't speak the language well. All I wanted was a piece of bread, but I was so nervous about saying the words wrong that I just pointed. I felt so small in that moment. That feeling, that fear, is what we are going to talk about today. This episode is not about learning 1,000 new words or memorizing complex grammar rules. It's about something much deeper, something much more powerful. It's about how to build the confidence to use the English you already have. We are going to walk together, step by step, through some gentle and proven ways to find your voice and to feel proud every single time you use it. This isn't about becoming a perfect speaker overnight. It's about starting a journey of self-kindness, courage, and connection. So find a comfortable spot, maybe make yourself a cup of tea, and let's begin. Section 1. Looking our fears in the eye. Before we can build something new and beautiful, like confidence, it really helps to look at the ground we're building on. And for many of us, that ground can feel a little shaky. We need to ask ourselves a gentle question. Why do we feel so nervous in the first place? It often comes down to a few common fears that so many of us share. First, there's the big one, the fear of making mistakes. It feels like a spotlight is on us, and if we say one word wrong, a big alarm will go off. We worry about using the wrong tense, the wrong preposition, or mispronouncing a word. Then, there's the fear of being judged. We worry about what other people will think. Will they think we're not smart? Will they get impatient with us? This fear can be so strong that it silences us completely. Sometimes it's a feeling of not being ready. We think, I just need to learn a little more vocabulary, or my grammar is not good enough yet. So we wait and wait and wait for a perfect moment that never seems to arrive. And for some of us, maybe we've had a negative experience in the past. Perhaps someone laughed, or corrected us in an unkind way, and that memory has stayed with us, making us afraid to try again. Do any of those sound familiar to you? If they do, please know that these fears are completely natural. Every single person who has ever learned something new has felt them. But here is the secret. These fears are just feelings. They are not facts. They are not a true measure of your ability. I want you to think about something for a moment. Think about your native language, the language you speak without thinking, the language of your heart. When you were a small child, maybe 2 or 3 years old, did you speak it perfectly? Of course not. You made thousands of funny, wonderful mistakes. You said things like, "I goed to the park," instead of, "I went." You pointed at a cat and called it a doggy. And what did your family do? Did they judge you? No, they smiled. They gently guided you. They celebrated your effort. You learned by trying, by playing with words, and by getting it wrong, again and again and again. Learning English is no different. It is a skill, just like learning to cook or learning to swim. And how do we get better at any skill? We do it. Poorly at first, then a little better, and then a little better still. So, the first step on our journey today is simply to acknowledge these fears. Let's look them in the eye and say, "I see you. I understand you are here because I am trying something brave, but you do not have the power to stop me." Because every time you feel that little bit of fear, it's not a stop sign. It's a sign that you are growing. You are stepping outside of your comfort zone, and that is where all the magic happens. Section 2. The most powerful tool you own. Your mindset. Okay, so we've acknowledged our fears. We see them, we understand them. Now, what do we do about them? This brings us to the most important tool you will ever have on your English learning journey. It's not a fancy app. It's not an expensive textbook. It's something you already have. It's your mindset. Your mindset is the way you think about yourself and your abilities. It's the story you tell yourself inside your own head. And this story can either be a heavy weight that holds you down, or it can be a pair of wings that helps you fly. Let's choose to build some wings. Many of us have a perfectionist mindset. We believe that we must have perfect grammar and a perfect accent before we have the right to speak. But can you see the trap in that? If you wait for perfection, you will wait forever. You will never speak. So let's try a gentle but powerful shift. Let's change our goal from perfection to connection. Think about it. When you speak to someone, what is the real goal? Is it to impress them with your flawless grammar? Or is it to share an idea, to ask a question, to understand another person, to connect with them human to human? The goal is connection. Your purpose is to be understood, not to sound like a news presenter on the BBC. When you focus on connection, the pressure disappears. It's no longer a test. It's a conversation. The second mental shift is this. Mistakes are not your enemy. They are your teachers. I want you to imagine you are trying to cross a wide, beautiful river. The other side is confidence. Every time you make a mistake, a stone appears in the water. If you see the mistake as a failure, you might feel like you are sinking. But if you change your mindset, you can see that mistake as a stepping stone. You can step on it, learn from it, and use it to get closer to the other side. That grammar mistake you made yesterday, it's a stone. That word you mispronounced, it's another stone. They aren't signs of weakness. They are signs that you are building a path forward. They are proof that you are trying. And that brings us to our third mental shift. Celebrate your effort, not just your success. We often wait for a big victory before we let ourselves feel proud. We think, I will be happy when I can have a 30-minute conversation without any mistakes. But this is a very long wait. Confidence is not built in huge leaps. It's built in tiny, everyday steps. Did you understand one sentence of an English song today? That is a victory. Celebrate it. Did you say thank you to the bus driver in English? That is progress. Be proud of it. Did you listen to this podcast for 5 minutes? You should feel wonderful about that. You must become your own biggest cheerleader. Be proud of yourself for showing up, for trying, for being brave. The effort is what matters most. So, I have a gentle question for you to reflect on. What is the story you are currently telling yourself about speaking English? Is it a story of fear and perfectionism? And if so, are you willing to start telling a new one? A story of connection, of learning from mistakes, and of celebrating every small, brave step you take? Section 3. Making a friend of your voice. Daily speaking habits. So, we have a new mindset. We are ready to embrace imperfection. We are focused on connection. Now, it's time for the practical part. It's time to act. Speaking English, as we said, is a skill. It's also a muscle. If you go to the gym once a month, you won't see much change. But if you go for just 15 minutes every day, you will become stronger. Your speaking muscle is exactly the same. It needs gentle, consistent exercise. The secret is to make speaking a small, simple, daily habit. Here are 3 simple practices you can start today. And the first one, well, it might feel a little silly at first, but I promise you, it's one of the most effective things you can do. The first practice is talk to yourself in English. Yes, you heard me right. This is your secret training ground. There is no one to listen, no one to judge you. It's just you, your voice, and the English language. You can do this anytime, anywhere. When you are getting dressed in the morning, you can say, I am putting on a blue shirt. I am looking for my socks. When you are preparing food, you can describe what you are doing. I am cutting an onion. Now, I am heating some oil in the pan. You can talk about your day. Today, I need to go to the supermarket. I feel a little tired, but I'm also happy because the sun is shining. This practice is powerful for 3 reasons. First, it gets you comfortable with the physical act of speaking English. Second, it connects the words directly to your real life and your actions. And third, it starts the process of thinking in English, which we will talk more about later. Our second daily practice is to read out loud. Find something in English that you enjoy. It could be a page from a book, a short article online, the lyrics to your favorite song, or even a children's story. It doesn't matter what it is. The important thing is to read it out loud for 5 minutes every day. When you do this, you are practicing so many things at once. You are training your mouth and your tongue to make the sounds of English. You are improving your rhythm and your flow. And you are hearing your own voice speaking English words, which sends a powerful message to your brain. I can do this. I am an English speaker. Now, for our third practice, let's add one more layer. Practice speaking in front of a mirror. I know. This can also feel a bit strange, but it is so helpful. When you speak in front of a mirror, you can see your facial expressions. You can see your body language. You are not just a voice, you are a whole person communicating. Smile at yourself in the mirror as you speak. This small act can instantly make you feel more relaxed and confident. It makes the act of speaking feel more real, like you are preparing for a real conversation. You are practicing connecting with someone, and that someone is you, the most important person on this journey. So, your invitation for this week is to choose one of these practices. Just one. Can you give yourself 5 minutes a day to talk to yourself, read out loud, or speak to your reflection in the mirror? 5 minutes. That's all it takes to plant a seed of confidence that will grow stronger every single day. You are worth that small investment in yourself. Section 4. The surprising power of simple English. As you begin your daily practice, speaking to yourself or reading out loud, you might feel a certain temptation. It's a very common feeling among language learners. It's the temptation to use big, complicated, intelligent words. We often believe that using complex sentences will make us sound more fluent, more impressive. But what if I told you that, especially in the beginning, the opposite is true? True confidence doesn't come from complexity. It comes from clarity. Think about it. When you try to use a long word that you're not sure about, or build a very complex sentence, what happens? You pause. You get nervous. You might get confused in the middle of your own sentence. Your brain is working so hard to find the fancy words that you lose your flow and your confidence. So, here is a revolutionary idea. Give yourself permission to be simple. Embrace short, clear, simple sentences. For example, instead of struggling to say something like, "Despite my profound appreciation for various literary genres, I find myself predominantly inclined towards the consumption of historical fiction." Wow, that's exhausting. What if you just said, with a calm and confident voice, "My name is Anna. I live in Brazil. I like reading books. My favorite books are about history." Which one sounds more confident? Which one is clearer? Which one allows for a real connection with the listener? The second one, of course. Speaking simply and clearly is much more powerful than speaking in a confusing, complicated way. I like to think of it like building with Lego blocks. When you first start, you don't reach for the most unusual, complicated pieces. You start with the simple, strong, rectangular blocks. You use them to build a solid foundation. You learn how they connect. Later, once your foundation is strong, you can start adding the more interesting, decorative pieces. Your English is the same. Start with a simple foundation. I am, I like, I think, I feel. Master these simple structures. Feel the confidence that comes from being in complete control of your sentences. Over time, your vocabulary will naturally grow. As you listen and read more, you will pick up new words and phrases. And because you have a strong, simple foundation, you will know exactly how to place these new words into your conversations easily and confidently. So here is my question for you to reflect on. Have you been putting too much pressure on yourself to sound advanced? What if for just 1 week you decided to be a master of simple English? Give yourself the gift of clarity. You might be surprised at how much more confident and relaxed you feel. Section 5. The two sides of the coin. Listening to speak. We have spent a lot of time talking about producing language, about the act of speaking. But speaking is only one side of the conversation coin. The other side, which is just as important, is listening. In fact, here is a little secret. To become a better speaker, you must become a better listener. Think of it this way. Listening is like breathing in. Speaking is like breathing out. You cannot breathe out for a long time if you haven't first taken a good, deep breath in. When you listen to English, you are not just passively hearing sounds. You are absorbing the language. You are filling your mind with the raw materials you need to speak. Listening teaches you so many things. It teaches you the music of English. Every language has its own rhythm, its own melody. Listening helps you feel this natural rise and fall, which makes your own speech sound much more natural. It teaches you pronunciation. You hear how native speakers really connect words, the sounds they shorten, the sounds they emphasize. This is something a textbook can never teach you. And of course, it builds your vocabulary and grammar knowledge in a natural, effortless way. You hear a new word in the context of a real sentence, and your brain learns how to use it correctly without you even trying to memorize a rule. So the question is, what should you listen to? The wonderful news is that you have a whole universe of options. You can listen to podcasts that are made specifically for English learners, just like this one. The speakers usually talk a little more slowly and clearly. You can listen to audiobooks. You can listen while you are driving, or cleaning the house, or going for a walk. Choose a book you already love in your own language. That way, you already know the story and can focus on the language. Movies and TV shows are fantastic. I recommend watching with English subtitles, not subtitles in your native language. This connects the written word to the spoken sound. You can listen to music. Find English songs you love and look up the lyrics. Sing along. Singing is a joyful way to practice pronunciation and rhythm. And of course, there are millions of free videos on YouTube on any topic you can imagine. But here is the key. Listen actively. Don't just let the English wash over you like background noise. Engage with it. And this brings me to a very fun and powerful technique. It's called shadowing. It's very simple. Find a short audio clip of a speaker you like. It could be from a movie, a speech, or a podcast. Play one sentence, then pause the audio. And immediately you repeat the sentence, trying to copy the speaker exactly. Copy their pronunciation, their rhythm, their tone of voice, even their emotion. You are acting like their shadow. This might feel strange at first, but it is one of a handful of the most powerful ways to improve your fluency and pronunciation. You are training your mouth and your brain to work together in a new way. So, your invitation is to make listening your new best friend. Find moments in your day to breathe in the sounds of English. Let it be the soundtrack to your life. You will be amazed at how, when it's time to speak, the words and phrases begin to flow out of you much more naturally, because you have filled your mind with them first. Section 6. You are not alone. The power of community. Practicing alone is a beautiful and necessary part of this journey. Talking to yourself, reading out loud, and shadowing, these activities build a safe, strong foundation. They help you get comfortable with your own voice. But language is not meant to be a solo activity. At its heart, language is about connection between people. So, at some point, we need to take a small, brave step out of our private practice space and into the world.
We need to find our people. The idea of speaking with another person can bring back all those fears we talked about at the beginning. That little voice might get very loud saying, "You're not ready. You're going to make mistakes." And what do we say to that voice? We smile and we remember our new mindset. We are not aiming for perfection, we are aiming for connection. You don't join a community because you are already a perfect speaker. You join a community so that you can practice and become a more confident speaker. Doing this journey with others is so much more effective and so much more fun. So, where can you find these friendly people to practice with? Today, it is easier than ever before. There are wonderful language exchange apps for your phone, like Tandem or HelloTalk. On these apps, you can find someone who wants to learn your native language, and in exchange, they will help you with your English. You can start with text messages, and when you feel ready, you can move on to short voice messages or even calls. There are countless online groups, perhaps on Facebook or other social media sites, dedicated to English learners. People share tips, ask questions, and sometimes organize online conversation groups on platforms like Zoom. You might even find a local English-speaking club in your city or town. And of course, you can find an online tutor. A good, kind tutor can provide a very safe space to practice and can give you expert guidance. When you start speaking with other people, you learn things you simply cannot learn on your own. You learn the natural back and forth of a conversation. You learn how to ask follow-up questions, how to show you are listening, and you learn all the little phrases and expressions that make speech sound natural. Now, when you find a kind practice partner or a good tutor, you can ask them for a wonderful and precious gift. That gift is feedback. It can be scary to ask for feedback, but it is one of the fastest ways to grow. You can't always hear your own mistakes. A good partner can act as a gentle mirror. You can say something like, "I'm working on my confidence. Would you mind correcting me if I make a big mistake?" Or, "How could I say this sentence in a more natural way?" One important piece of advice here: be selective about whose feedback you listen to. Only ask for feedback from people you know are supportive, kind, and truly want to help you. The goal of feedback is to build you up, not to make you feel bad. So, what is one small step you could take this week to find your community? Maybe your goal is not to have a full conversation yet. Maybe it's just to download one of those apps and look around, or to join a Facebook group and just read what other people are posting. Take one tiny step towards finding someone else to share this journey with. You don't have to walk this path alone.
Section 7. Your future self is cheering for you. We are nearing the end of our time together for today. We have traveled a long way. We've looked at our fears, we've transformed our mindset, we've built daily habits, and we've talked about finding community. For this final section, I want to talk about a few last powerful tools. And I want to introduce you to a very special person who is your biggest supporter. That person is the future you. Let's start with a little experiment. If you can do so safely, I invite you to close your eyes for just a moment. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Now, I want you to imagine yourself 6 months from now. Picture the scene clearly in your mind. Maybe you are sitting in a cafe with an international friend. Maybe you are on a video call for work. See yourself speaking in English, but notice how you are speaking. You are not struggling. You are not nervous. You are speaking calmly, clearly. There is a smile on your face. You are expressing your ideas, and the person you are talking to is nodding, smiling, and understanding you. Feel the feeling of ease, of pride, of confident connection. Just hold that image, that feeling for a moment. Okay, you can open your eyes. What you just did is a technique called visualization. It is incredibly powerful. Your brain doesn't always know the difference between a real memory and a vividly imagined one. When you consistently visualize your success, you are creating a mental blueprint. You are teaching your brain where you want to go. You are making your goal feel real and achievable. It might sound simple, but doing this for just 2 minutes a day can create real change. Another tool is to use the power of your own words, spoken to yourself. These are often called positive affirmations. Your inner voice can be your harshest critic or your kindest coach. Let's train it to be a coach. Every morning, you could try looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, out loud, a few kind words. Words like, I am learning and growing every day. It is okay for me to make mistakes. Mistakes help me learn. I am a brave and capable English speaker. My voice deserves to be heard. Saying these words, especially out loud, can feel awkward at first, but they slowly and surely begin to counteract the negative stories we so often tell ourselves. You are planting seeds of confidence in the garden of your mind. And as you move forward, be sure to set small, realistic, and kind goals. A goal like, I will become fluent in 3 months, is a recipe for disappointment. It creates too much pressure. Instead, create a goal like, this week, my goal is to learn 3 new phrases I can use in a restaurant. Or, my goal today is to listen to 5 minutes of an English podcast. These goals are small, achievable, and specific. And every time you achieve one, you get a little burst of confidence. It's real confidence, built on real action. You are proving to yourself, step by step, that you can do this. And my final piece of advice for today is perhaps the most important. Please do not wait for the perfect conditions to start. Don't wait until you have more time. Don't wait until you know more vocabulary. Don't wait until you feel ready. Let me tell you a secret. You will never feel 100% ready. There will always be a reason to wait. Confidence is not the result of waiting. Confidence is the result of doing. The very best time to start building your confidence was yesterday. The second best time is right now, today, in this very moment. So, let's take one final deep breath in together and let it out with a smile. We have covered so much ground today. We started by looking our fears in the eye and understanding that they are a normal part of growth. We discovered the incredible power of shifting our mindset, changing our goal from impossible perfection to beautiful human connection. We learned that mistakes are not failures, but stepping stones on our path forward. We talked about creating small, simple, daily habits, like talking to ourselves, reading out loud, and embracing the power of simple English. We learned that to speak better, we must first listen more, filling our minds with the music of the language. We saw the importance of community, of taking that brave step to practice with others, and to not walk this path alone. And finally, we connected with our future confident selves, and we reminded ourselves to be kind, to set small goals, and to start right now. I want to leave you with this one thought. Speaking English with confidence is not a special talent reserved for a lucky few. It is a skill, and it is absolutely possible for everyone. And that includes you. It doesn't matter how old you are, where you are from, or how many times you have felt stuck before. What matters is your willingness to try, your consistency, and the kindness you show yourself along the way. You do not have to be perfect. You just have to be brave enough to begin. And the truth is, you have already begun just by listening to this. You are already stronger and better than you think you are, and the world is waiting to hear your thoughts, your stories, your questions, your unique and wonderful voice. Thank you so much for joining me today on Speak with Confidence. I hope you found a little bit of inspiration and a few gentle tools to take with you on your journey. If this conversation was helpful, please consider subscribing to the podcast so you don't miss our next episode together. Until then, be kind to yourself and keep speaking.